Welcome to another episode of Simon Says, where facts come first. I'm your host, Jenny Simon. Grab your popcorn, grab your drink, grab your pills. The pills are important. Grab your pills. Keep your notepad and your pen close by. Okay? We'll be right back. Backed by popular demand. I'm sorry, but they ask for it. And when you ask for it, I give it to you. Folks, a licky ticky. Yeah. Well, it's rough these days, you know. Everybody trying to eat their food, the supporters, the surrogates, the hawks, the friends, which is most important. They got to eat the food. And so the chairpersons, the deputy chairpersons, and other directors of boards, certified and non-certified, have received raise of stipend. And you know, on the boards are all friends, some of them on 3, 4, 5 boards, the same people. And so if you collect $475 or $700 twice a month, or sometimes 3 times a month, that's a good salary there. That's a full salary there. The non-certified chairperson getting $700, the deputy chairperson $475, and the directors $350. And that's for the non-certified. I'm going to explain that non-certified and certified thing for you later, because I had no clue what was going on there. I had to find out what is that all about. So the non-certified chairperson getting $700, the deputy non-certified chairperson getting $475, and the directors $350, and that's a meeting. The certified chairpersons getting $910. The deputy chairpersons that are certified getting $620, and the directors $455. In the meantime, all our statutory bodies are in a mess, totally destroyed. In a total mess. And we have these directors who are sitting there. You telling me the directors of the National Lottery Authority, the chairperson, right, still getting $910 or $700, right? Plus gym fee and all of that. Plus all the checks he writes in to himself, right? But there's a friend, he's a nation builder. Now, as I said, I had no idea what this certified and non-certified meant. So apparently some time ago, the directors and chairs of the boards of the different statutory bodies was asked to do some course or some workshop. So if you completed that workshop, you are certified. And of course, if you didn't, or didn't take part in it at all, you're non-certified. And as I was told, it was a very expensive, it was like 500 US, I think, you had to pay to do it. So I guess that's to get back their money. I don't know what it is, but people, it is just it is just a mess. So certified or non-certified, you got to raise, right? In the meantime, there still are persons, cooks and so in the schools and maintenance people and gardeners, people like the service people at the pumps, the gas stations who help us put the gas in our vehicle. There are all these people out there who are still getting, who are still underpaid, right? From and not experiencing the minimum wage, the new minimum wage, right? But it's their friend. It's one family, and we have to make sure that they're good because they know that they're not getting back in there. So it's a rush to fill their pockets. A drone update 2 weeks ago, I called the commissioner's office to find out where they were with the investigation. I was put on to ASP Parks, who had no idea what I was talking about. And so she took my number and promised to call me back. I am yet to get a call from ASP Parks. However, someone gave me the number for ACP Cowan, and I called him. He answered because I guess he didn't have my number in his phone. He don't know who was calling. He did answer. He said he was at home. He said he knew of the letter of complaint, and it was passed on to the relevant division. But he's not sure where it's at now. When he going to work the next day, which was Friday, I called him actually Thursday afternoon. So on Friday, that was Friday the 6th. When he go into work on that day, he would let me know. But he asked me to call him on that day to let me know what he found out. I've been calling and I've been calling. And funny how the person who gave me his number said to me, he's not going to answer. I said, nah, man. He answered. He was very pleasant. He was very cordial when we spoke. And he never answered my call because I guess he saved my number. And so he never answered the call. And so I have no further information on the investigation. However, the drones are still there. Not as often. They don't come every night anymore, but they're there. I mean, I don't look every night anymore because they're part of my family now. And so I just deal, they are there or they're not there. I don't know, and I don't care. But speaking of the RGPF, we have a new commissioner or acting commissioner in the person of Randy Cornutt. The announcement was made by the Prime Minister in the Parliament yesterday, Wednesday, the 18th December 2024. But in a staff document released by the outgoing commissioner, dated the 16th, Monday, the 16th, 2024, it reads, "Good day, colleagues. I have been officially informed that my application for leave effective December 16th, 2024 has been approved." So on Monday the 16th, his application for leave was approved on that same day, right? This will be followed by the conclusion of my current contract as commissioner, which is due to end on January the 6th, 2025. Regrettably, I will not have the opportunity to meet with each of you personally to express my gratitude for your dedicated service to the Royal Grenada Police Force, the RGPF, and to the citizens of our beloved country, Grenada, Carriacou, and the Petite Martinique, particularly over the last 2 years. It has been an immense honor to serve as your commissioner. I am sincerely grateful for the opportunity to contribute to the RGPF's mission and objectives, and I trust that my efforts have made a positive impact on the organization and its stakeholders. While my departure marks the end of this chapter, I remain optimistic about the future of the RGPF. I am confident that your proactive policy strategies, coupled with robust community policing initiatives, will continue to provide a strong foundation for effective law enforcement. As the Christmas season approaches, I hope you find the time to celebrate meaningful and joyous moments with your loved ones. Your hard work, sacrifices, and commitment deserves nothing less. Thank you once again for your unwavering dedication and support. Blessings and farewell. Aww. I feel so sad at how he had to go. And it seems like it's just time to go. Take your leave, take your vacation. It runs into the end of your contract. Bye now. Bye now. You know? So that's it there. That's it there for the commissioner. And we see how that pans out. So I still have not received my merchandise sitting in a container on the St. George's port. And that's me and a whole lot of other people, both private individuals and businesses, both small and large, affected alike, right? Totally unacceptable. Because the Port Authority would have known that the sheds are filled with merchandise that people are not coming to pick up. I heard the manager of the port, Mr. Ian Evans, said himself that after 3 months, they have the right to auction the stuff. When last any of you heard about an auction on the port? However, I'll let you know that it's worse now. It's the longest it took. But throughout almost the entire year of 2024, we had that issue where our goods would be on the port and we'd be told that the container not strip yet because they have no place to put the goods. This is not just a Christmas thing. So there's something going on there. And Simon said had to do the digging. And she let you know exactly what is going on there. So speaking to the owner of a trucking company who had to lay off staff, he explained to me his dilemma and how this has affected his business tremendously. Now, his business mainly hauls container off the port for individuals, agents, and businesses alike, right? And so they would haul the containers, strip it off the port, and return the empty containers for the agents. With what's going on the port now, the truckers are not allowed to return the empty containers to the port. And they have to keep the containers off the port outside at their own expense. So at the moment, the empty containers he last hauled are sitting on his chassis. So he can't use them to go back to the port to haul out of new containers. And so he had to lay off his workers. They have nothing to do, right? This is going on over 12 days now, right? Now, I received a copy of a letter he had his lawyers wrote up to the port manager. Well, it is addressed to the port manager, Mr. Ian Evans, and it's the denial of access for empty metal container return. Now, the letter is to Mr. Ian Evans, the manager, Grenada Port Authority, the Carolina at St. George's. Dear Mr. Evans, denial of access for empty metal containers returned. We asked for Mr., and I would not call his name. Our client operates a trucking business. Let me get my glasses there and stop playing cute. Right. Our client operates a trucking business dedicated to haulage of containers to and from the port of St. George's for various business entities throughout Grenada. Our instructions are that since Wednesday, the 11th day of December 2024, at 2 p.m., the Port Authority has denied access to our client's truck and other trucks as well on the port to return empty containers. These empty containers belong to shipping companies, and through their agents have paid the authority for the storage of same on the port. Due to the authority aforesaid breach of its obligations to the agents, and by extension, the truck operators, there has been and continues to be significant, unjustifiable harm to our clients' business operations. We have further instructed that our client contacted the relevant agents of the shipping companies, who have informed our client that they have communicated the issue to the authority, but nothing has been done. Our client's efforts to have said matter resolved have also been futile, as up to yesterday, you have indicated to him that you cannot do anything about the matter within the next 2 weeks. That will take us beyond the season, right? As a result of the authority's position and these restrictions, our client's business has suffered loss of income and loss of clients. He is unable to meet the demands of his clients, as all of his chassis are occupied with empty containers that he is unable to return to the port. This has forced our clients to send his employees home. A tragedy at this time of the year, as his trucks have not been able to operate to generate income. This has threatened the viability of our client's business. This dire situation needs to be resolved promptly. We therefore demand the following. 1, immediate restoration of access to the port of our client's trucks in order to return the empty containers, or immediate provisions of an alternative location for storage of said empty containers and the authority's coverage of associated lifting and all other costs. 2, compensation for loss suffered by our client from Thursday, the 12th December 2024 to date in the sum of $23,200 and continuing on a daily basis until this matter is rectified. The breakdown for the loss to date follows: loss of business, 4 days, $11,200, chassis rental, 6 days, $12,000. Your failure to meet the above demands on or before Friday, the 20th December 2024 will leave us with no choice but to pursue further legal remedies to protect our clients' business interests. Now the thing getting sticky. Folks, what we are not told is that part of the problem is the government of Grenada has given concession for storage or for storing their material on the port. Tons of steel. The southern end of the port, my friends, is used up by the Lavera project. The space, the entire space is taken up by the Livera project. The government gave them the permission and gave them concession, so they don't even have to pay for storage, right? And they are making no money on it. But Mr. Lee is their friend. Mr. Lee billing community center, Mr. Lee paying salary, Mr. Lee giving 28,000 US dollars gifts, right? He is Deacon partner. He do a whole set of things in St. David's for Deacon. He can get in one little thing for any of the others in their constituency. Livera in St. Patrick. And so my merchandise, among others, that I spent my pennies to bring in for the holidays, to make a little penny extra, to hustle over the holidays, is still and is stuck in a container on the port because they have nowhere to put the merchandise, right? So they yesterday, for instance, when we called, we were told that they're not stripping today at all because there's no place to put the merchandise when it is the containers are being stripped. The northern end of the port is left free for the car boat, which is supposed to dock in a few days. Now, Mokas, the Prime Minister says he's supposed to reverse that. We waiting to hear. I had asked how we plan to do it. But still, every time, I don't know how often the car boat comes, but it comes and we get more and more vehicles. And so that space is reserved for the car boat. And that is practically one of the reasons, if not the major reason, why small people like me are stuck and have no merchandise. People come in, we don't have the stuff that we ordered for them. There are persons who actually ordered stuff for their staff parties and their cocktails and their Christmas events. The events have long gone and the stuff is in the container on the port. So in the meantime, as the Christmas seasons come to an end, it's doom and gloom for those of us whose name don't have a Lee in it, right? Christmas is 3 working days away, my friend. 3 working days away. I wonder if Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell could push back Christmas to February or March for us. Just as he pushed back the budget, I wonder if he'd be able to push back Christmas for us. Because, folks, that added to what is going on out there now. No sight of Christmas. Even the traffic on the road from St. George's to Grand Anse, or St. George's to Grand Anse, rather, has eased up. I mean, you're driving, in a few minutes, you're in Grand Anse. I was shocked to see that. I was out on Tuesday on that route from the Carenage to Grand Anse. There was no vehicle in front of me on my way down. None, absolutely none. All the way down to Grand Anse. So let's see what happens. I mean, I have given up. I am not going to stress myself over that. It happened. We still have the bills to pay. I don't know if we'll be able to, but God is good. God is good all the time. And as I end this piece on this port update, I want to ask you guys, all of you, to pray for a dear friend of mine who had medical troubles over the last couple of days. He needs our prayers. And I wish for him Godspeed and a total recovery. My friend, I am praying for you. I love you and I'm praying for you. So our acting Prime Minister, Andy Williams, our designated acting prime minister, found the time while he was acting as prime minister on Monday, the 16th December 2024, to make a post on me, and a good, 5 paragraphs, not very long ones, but 5 paragraphs, a sizable enough post on me. But apparently he blocked me. So it was screenshot. I mean, many, more than one. I know, you know how you guys vigilant. I'm loving it, you see, and sent to me. And if you look on the screen, you would see that post. And I'm going to read it to you as well, you know. Yes, I'm going to read it to you as well. So my guy, cuz, right? Let me get my glasses. And AJ Williams. And it reads, I said no, I would not join your organization. Immediately after, they sent their PR army to attack me. It didn't work before the election, and it's still not working. Now they are sending the famous mathematician, and I accept that, the famous mathematician, and he put down a 50,000 by 200 is 10,000. Yeah, remember the saga? To attack me with a set of foolishness. Someone tell her she is not educated enough to get my attention. Not even educated enough to know a minister cannot sign a contract. No, I'm not educated enough to get his attention, but he's sending a message to me in a post, right? So that I'm not getting his attention, but he's sending a message to me in a post. He said, what they fail to understand is I was elected to represent the people, not to beat Tebe with a disgruntled NDC, now turned NNP. Their strategy may have worked on Nazim, not AJ. Now, I guess I am an NDC, a disgruntled NDC turned NNP. I did not know that I signed up. I mean, they get lessons for me, math lessons. Maybe they signed up for me and I didn't know. But I'm not a card-bearing member of any political party. And I said it last week, I'm a free agent. I'm a free agent. I'm going to vote. Nobody's going to take away that right from me. I'm going to vote. Now, he is a NNP to an NDC, right? And when he say up here in the beginning, I said no, that's a lie. But we know he cannot help lying. We know that he's a pathological liar. Now, to continue. Now, let's continue. Remember, folks, great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. And small minds discuss people. Young people, that is why you should work hard and smart in your youth, so you wouldn't have to be fighting against young people who are trying to build Grenada with lies and propaganda in your mature life. Tell them, don't wake me. Hey, we papa. Now, let's dissect this post. I said, no, I would not join your organization. No, that's a lie. No, that's a lie. Andy Williams wanted to be the candidate in the South for the NNP in the last general election. He had a great relationship with Ms. Clarice Modest Cohen, the former minister for the NNP, and begged, the operative word here is begged, her to take him to meet Dr. Mitchell. She eventually gave in and took him to meet Dr. Mitchell. There was a reason why she walked slowly in doing so. There was a reason. Prime Minister to meet the then Prime Minister and the political leader of the NNP. At the time, Dr. Mitchell listened as Handy made his bid, but what Handy did not know was that at the time there was an ongoing investigation on him concerning the corruption on the port and the removal of containers illegally outside of business and working hours, right? And him and his company was one of the person and companies being investigated, right? Well, of course, the elections followed right after that, and so that got thrown under the rug, right? So he wasn't considered. The next thing you know, of course, he was, as he said, you know, that's true too, because he lies that they couldn't call him, and the rest is history. No, we stuck with one of the most crooked individuals on island, in our parliament, in our cabinet, and acting as our prime minister for the most part. Next paragraph. Now they are sending the famous mathematician to attack me with a set of foolishness. Someone tell her she's not educated enough to get my attention, not even educated enough to know a minister cannot sign a contract. Well, the thing is, what's funny is last episode, because I went over and we had so much other content, I left out my question at the end to the Prime Minister about Andy and his bribery. You know, his name didn't get called last week. I don't know what is going on inside the NDC or the cabinet, but something is tickling some of them, because I'm noticing some comments and hearing from other persons within the cabinet and this kind of behavior, like they get jittery, you know? Now, first of all, I'll take and accept the famous mathematician. I done my dues, I'm tested, I went to school, I took my class every day. That was paid for me by the PRO of the NDC, and I'm doing well. So I'll accept famous mathematician. I know that's not the word he wanted to use, but he's so educated. He know the difference between famous and infamous. So I'll take the famous. What I can tell the minister is that I'm not an accountant. I'm a cosmetologist by profession. I'm going to tell you what I mean. You got to look that up yourself. I'm a cosmetologist by profession. You, Mr. Minister Andy, is a so-called accountant. The infamous accountant. Tell us how many accounting jobs you were fired from and why. I'll give you a Queen Show question here. Tell us how many jobs you were fired from and why. I know of 4. You're chronic. You're a chronic individual. Let me tell you what chronic means. Something that continues or occurs again and again over a long period of time. You need help. You need help. I don't know if there's anybody here on island or on earth, for that matter, that can help you, but you need help. Here is a clip. You went to the church. You went to the church for help. It didn't work. There we go.
Yeah, stand up, yeah? And I want to ask this young lady here to stand. Stand up. Now, someone asked me where did the idea of the starter pack came from. Let me just tell you. I have no original idea. Every idea that I have, I get it from someone, right? People think that Andy is so brilliant and everything. I have no original idea. I always get an idea from someone. Now, 10 years ago, Brother Cornwall, I could have been in prison, right? I lost my job. And this lady right here and my dad bailed me out.
I know I'm not educated enough, but I'm going to correct you here. You have no original ideas. Not idea. Okay? Let's move on. Why or what rather did your mom and your dad save you from? Andy, what did your mom and your dad save you from going to jail from? What did you do, Andy? Was it the stealing from the Flamboyant Hotel? Using your accountant skills? And why did you run and own up to that one, Andy? Just that one. Why did you? Is it because Deacon Mitchell, at the time, because he wasn't prime minister yet, when you ran for help, for cover by Pastor Simon, is it because Deacon Mitchell was a major shareholder of the Flamboyant Hotel, and so was one of his closest allies, even today? So you figured you'll take in front because they know. They don't know. My dad always had this thing he used to say, who in a good front must take, who in a good foot must take in front. Before Flamboyant, where did you work, Andy? Was it Grand Beach? Was it the Grand Beach or was it Rex? Before Flamboyant. What happened there, Andy? What happened at the Grand Beach? Let's say Grand Beach first. And what happened at the Rex Grenadian Resort? And what happened up the islands at the Regional Gas Company? I believe it was Shell. I stand corrected. What happened at those jobs? You should have played dead, Andy. Don't wake you up. You should have played dead. Because you, as acting prime minister, the prime minister have 7 or 8 ministries. We'll come to them down the road. 7 or 8 ministries. And you have the MIT thing that you just play around with, they play your cuckoo with. So it's either 8 or 9 ministry you would have been responsible at the time. When you found the time to attack me, I'm not educated enough. One would think an accountant knows how to balance a checkbook and therefore would not issue bounce checks, which, by the way, is a crime on the books of Grenada. And I'll show you this here. This young man wrote bounce checks.
O'Neil Ryan Mighty was originally slapped with 10 counts of fraud and an 11th charge for the offense of money laundering. The matter involves the issuance of over $80,000 worth of bounced checks to a commercial bank in St. George's in September 2016. The matter was prosecuted by Crown Counsel in the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution, Howard Pinnock, who accepted the guilty plea for the charges and did not offer evidence on the money laundering charge. Mighty has been remanded to the Richmond Hill prison until his sentencing, which is carded for October 26.
An accountant writing bounce checks left, right, and center to his suppliers, writing bounce check to clear bounce check. And this guy do 80,000. hundreds of thousands of dollars, Mr. Andy Williams. Foolishness? The millions of dollars in loan the NDC Board of Directors of the Grenada Development Bank gave to you just 6 months after the 2022 elections. Well, the accumulation, because you had borrowed before, you wasn't servicing million, then they come and they give you more, adding and adding and adding, because you're NDC and you're inside the cabinet, and people started tormenting the prime minister, going to him for their monies that you owed from writing bunks checks. Well, give me my checks. Give me my checks here. Give me my checks. It could be up on the screen as well. See? I have 3 here. This one here is for $25,000. Hey, 25,000 was your figure. This one here, this other one here, $25,000. And this one here is $11,132.70. Let me get my glasses for the fine print. Grand Anne's Hotspot, Grand Anne's, P.O. Box, St. George's, telephone number 473-405-9558. Grand Anne's Hotspot, Grand Anne's P.O. Box, same address. And this third one is the same address, right? Well, the signature is a nice thing, an A with a little frills, right? Mm-hmm. I got them. I got them. I got them. I got the proof. Foolishness? This is where facts come first. We don't deal with foolishness. This is probably the biggest foolishness I dealt with is that post, but I have to deal with you, Mr. Andy Williams. So the monies from the Grenada Development Bank, wasn't that to pay off monies owing to suppliers for bounce checks written to them? And in some cases, as I said, you wrote a bounce check, and this is a fact, I know that for a fact. You wrote a bounce check to cover a bounce check. So the 25,000 I might have called it, and then the next one was 25,000. It's probably one of the instances where you wrote a bounce check to cover a bounce check. And another thing, Andy Williams, acting Prime Minister and Minister for MIT. As an accountant, and you're educated there, you were educated, I'm not. But common sense could tell anybody, you're in retail business, or any business for that matter, you cannot purchase an item for $10 and sell it for $1 unless some kind of crookedness taking place. You cannot, wait a minute. So in your accountant course, they didn't have profit and loss. You didn't learn about profit and loss because you just can't do that. You cannot do that. And I quote, attack him with a set of foolishness. He said, foolishness? Because you're allowed to get away with it. You say, you call it foolishness? I noticed though, you did not say, I attack you with lies. You call it foolishness. Why is that so, Andy? Why is that so? You didn't come out and say, I attack you with lies. Because you know it's not a lie. It is because you know that it's a fact that you was given a golden handshake of $100,000. You hear the famous mathematician? She got that right. $100,000 in exchange for the Cliff Road project. Now, it wasn't just 100. The 100 was in cash. 15,000 towards the renovation of your pickup truck. So $115,000. What a bribery. Now, according to the Webster Dictionary, a bribe is money or favor given or promised in order to influence the judgment or conduct of a person in a position of trust. Something that serves to induce or influence. Now that's good enough for me to agree that the $115,000 you received from the contractor is or was a bribe, and that bribery is a crime. So you call it foolishness. Call it foolishness all you want. But I will continue to call on the Prime Minister of Grenada, Deacon Mitchell, to investigate that matter involving you, Andy Williams, a cabinet minister, MP for the South St. George, and designated acting prime minister, and to come to the nation with his findings and accountability. Now, the contract, I am not educated enough to know a minister cannot sign a contract. Well, a minister may not physically sign a contract, but ministers signs off on contracts. In other words, ministers say who get in this contract or who to give the contract. Yes, the permanent secretaries, for the most part, get to do the dirty work of the ministers after they pass the orders. By the way, is it true the permanent secretary you had removed from the Ministry of MIT, is it true it was because she refused to sign ghost contracts? Don't wake me. Don't wake me. Andy Williams, you are not even smart enough to know that even if the Prime Minister gave you an order and said to you, call so for me and offer him a contract or her a contract, give them a contract, that you pick up the phone, call the individual and say, the Prime Minister asked me to call you and tell you, you get in this contract, to give you this contract. That is as good as, or even worse than, you signing a contract. Like literally signing a contract. You use the Prime Minister name and a phone call, that could be recorded, that anybody could be in the room, but you educated and you smart. And why is the minister calling over the telephone offering persons contract? Why? In my mind, that is worse than actually signing a contract. That breeds corruption. But then if you look in the dictionary next to corruption, I'm sure you'd see A.J. Williams. And folks, that's the danger in the shifting or the amending rather of the Procurement Act. Shifting the figures from $15,000 to $100,000. That is the amount that one can receive a contract without having to bid or go into the procurement board to ratify. No tenders, $100,000. They amended it as soon as they came in because $15,000 was too small for them to have, and anything after that you had to bid and you had to tender and you had to go to the board. No, we had too many persons out there waiting to eat our food, our friends. And as they say, it is alleged when the friends get the contracts, to pass something on the side. I want you, Mr. Andy Williams, to come forward and answer to the allegations that you, in mafia style, has been going or went to the contractor on the carronage that's doing the never-ending building, the RGPF building on the carronage. The finisher who got the contract to renovate the building. Yeah? That you, come forward, deny the allegations that you went to this guy and collect money from him, as much as $10,000 at times from him, because you was involved in getting him the contract for the job. He's your domino partner, your friend, who was deported from Canada. Allegations. Come forward and deny the allegations. That's not foolishness, no. This is serious business. You the one Deacon does leave here every time he skip out as our prime minister. And that, I say, is foolishness. That is a whole lot of foolishness. The acting prime minister, and by the way, he was acting prime minister when he made the post on me. I might have mentioned that already. He took the time to make a 5-paragraph post on yours truly. He said, and I quote, he was elected to represent the people, not to beat Tebe. And that small minds discuss people. I guess your mind is as small as they come, Minister. You've just discussed me in a post. Troops. That one deserves a good troops. However, as a concerned citizen and a constituent of the South of St. George, I am concerned of your integrity as an official public officer, as an official in public life, and the wrong signals sent to our young people, the same young people you're speaking of there conveniently, our youth, that it's okay to perform criminal acts and still sit in one of the highest offices of the land and continue to commit those acts. I am concerned about your crooked and corrupt practices. You openly perform in public life as if it is the norm. I am concerned about your fraudulent behaviors that you continue to practice, even as you sit in the chair as Prime Minister, maybe even for longer periods than the Prime Minister himself. And folks, maybe I'll use some of the time over the holidays to do that. But I am almost certain if we check the days that Andy Williams, and for the few times Joseph Andel, Dennis Cornwall, and Lennox Andrew acted, that Andy Williams had spent more time as Prime Minister of Grenada than the actual Prime Minister of Grenada, Deacon Mitchell. And this is not something we should take lightly. You ever wonder, God forbid something happened to the Prime Minister when he's out on one of his rendezvous or out networking, and leave Andy as our Prime Minister? What would have happened to us? You ever wondered that? Huh? And want to talk about it. Folks, he left again, you know. The Prime Minister left after we spoke last week. He left again in 15 days. The first 15 days in January, he traveled 3 times. He left Grenada with the RSS plane on Sunday, the 15th of December, after returning on Wednesday, the 11th, December 2024, and returned on Tuesday, the 17th, December 2024. Again, there was no release. We looked up, I looked up, down, and across. I had people searching for me. We saw no release stating the departure of the Prime Minister and where he had traveled to, a clear violation of the Constitution of Grenada, Section 61(1). Now, that appointment is an instrument appointment given under the hand of the Governor General. It's like all the other ministerial appointments, like when you become Minister of Education and you get your appointment from the GG. The appointment of an acting Prime Minister and acting minister of his ministries, it comes from the hand of the Governor General. Then there is Section 58(4) of the Constitution of Grenada, which is used to appoint acting ministers to act as the ministers using the portfolio of the minister who has traveled, in this case, the Prime Minister. And so the Government Gazette on Friday, December the 13th, 2024, number 62, 919, Grenada. And it reads, by Her Excellency, Dame Cecile Lagrenade, Dame Grand Cross of the Most Distinguished Orders of St. Michael and St. George, Officer of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire, Governor General of Grenada, acting appointment to the Honorable Andy Williams, whereas the Honorable Deacon Mitchell, Prime Minister, Minister for National, well, you need your pen and your paper there, excuse me. You need your pen and your paper for this one. Conde Ministries. So to the Honorable Andy Williams, whereas the Honorable Deacon Mitchell, Prime Minister, Minister of National Security, Home Affairs, Public Administration, Information and Disaster Management, and the Minister for Infrastructure and Physical Development, Public Utilities, Civil Aviation and Transportation, has left the state and on official business And it is necessary to appoint some other person to perform the functions of the said minister. Now, therefore, by the virtue of the authority vested in me by sections 58(4) of the Constitution of Grenada, and acting in accordance with the advice of the Prime Minister, I do hereby appoint you, the Honorable Andy Williams, to act as Minister for National Security, Home Affairs, Public Administration, Information, Disaster Management, Minister for Infrastructure and Physical Development, Public Utilities, Aviation, Civil Aviation, and Transportation from the 19th to the 21st of November, 2024, and to exercise all functions and authority pertaining to that office until the return to the state by the said Honorable Deacon Mitchell. This appointment is in addition to your present responsibilities given under the hand of on the 20th day of November 2024, signed by Cecile Lagrenade, Governor General. Could you imagine? I am of the belief that Deacon Mitchell cannot service all those ministries. Well, he's hardly here anyway, so I don't know when he's attending to all his ministries. No wonder why we are where we are today, and nothing is going right. Now, could you imagine giving it to Andy Williams, added to MIT? Well, he doesn't really do MIT, nothing MIT. And somebody say that that's he just takes care of the grass and stuff. Giving it to him. This guy could barely string a sentence together. And he has the responsibility. And sometimes I think the Prime Minister at one point was away for almost 2 weeks, a week and some, right? And then, of course, there is Section 61(1), where the Constitution of Grenada, that's the word, the section used to appoint whoever is going to act as Prime Minister. It's embedded, it's protected in the Constitution of Grenada. Kukute is what's going on there. Only Kukute that could have Andy Williams taking care of the country and all these ministry and his MIT crap. Right? 8 to 10 ministries. You always counted? 8 to 10 ministries, which even the Prime Minister, I'm almost certain, cannot handle. We can't even handle infrastructure. MIT runs infrastructure. MIT runs infrastructure. And besides that, they have to put up with him micromanaging, and that's the Prime Minister, I mean. All the other ministries, you know. We barely, it's only when they have parliament, and so you hear, and you hear from a couple of the ministers about their ministry and stuff. Besides that, you do not hear from any of the ministers, even when they're sitting next to the Prime Minister at the same table in a press briefing or a press conference. He speaks, he answers the questions pertaining to their ministries. Rat eat out all the tongue since they gone inside the cabinet of Grenada. Yeah, real rat in that cabinet. Big rat. They must be have running in that cabinet there. And could you just imagine Andy Williams who can barely string a sentence together. This guy who ran his retail business to the ground, right on, boss, because he's selling things he buy for $10, $15, whatever he pay for it, $5, he's selling it for $1 to get people to come and buy it, to come in there. Yeah, but where's the turnover? If you pay $10 for something and you sell it for $1, what are you making? What are you making? So even if people crowd up and buy it, common sense, that one didn't even need education, just common sense. And therefore, guys, we can see the results that we are now operating in a deficit, 144 million deficit. Money done. 144 million deficit. A failed state hanging by a thin thread. When does Deacon Mitchell get the time to manage all of those ministries, manage the country? When? Now, this question is to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell, are you going to investigate the bribery that took place between Andy Williams, your Minister of MIT and designated acting Prime Minister, and the contractor of the Cliff Road project of $115,000, $100,000 cash and $15,000 for the renovation of his pickup truck in exchange for the contract? You didn't sign the contract, Andy, but you went behind the back of the Prime Minister when he was not. Well, you didn't go behind his back. I'll take that back. I do apologize, because he left you as Prime Minister. You were Prime Minister and you did your prime ministerial duties. You were in charge of the Ministry of Infrastructure, because when he leaves you in charge of his ministries, and you were in charge of the Ministry of Infrastructure, and you went ahead and organized the contract for Mr. Nelson Louison, who gave you that golden handshake, who purchased the building, the house, your property in Mount Parnassus, that the Development Bank Board gave back to you, that was part of the security for the $3 million loan they gave to you. That, among the two pieces of land, the little pieces of land you have in St. David's, not close to $3 million. So they gave you back your security. They say if you pay them $300,000, you're going to get back your security. I'm sure the $300,000 you gave them is their money that they gave you to pay off bills. So you fry them in their own fat. And then you sold the property for $600,000 to Mr. Nelson Louison and take $100,000 as a handshake. As MP for the South St. George, the minister, like all the MPs, is receiving $10,000 for constituency allowance. Now, so you're bright and you're educated. You're an accountant, a qualified accountant. You're receiving $10,000 for your constituency allowance. And you're writing a check for $15,000, Andy? As sitting Prime Minister, and all these other accolades that you carry, the best. Well, let me tell you something. NDC say you're the best minister. They praise you, you good, you this, you that. If you're the best minister, we are in so much trouble. So much trouble. And you know, this guy is enabled because the bank received the check for $15,000. He don't have $15,000 in the account. And hiding it and going to who? The Prime Minister maybe, and say, look, because they want us to know that he writing a check for $15,000 from the parliamentary office, knowing, and that's the thing, if you're an accountant, as you say you are, you should know how much money you have in your account, in any of your accounts, whether it's a parliamentary one or your personal accounts. But you crooked. I hear you buying car for people going to get their number plates and saying, Minister Andy, buy this car for me. Is that for votes? Is that for votes? All them Indian and whoever you're giving contract to build house. The build back better houses, but we go come to build back better just now, We go come to build back better. Cease and desist from writing checks in the name of the parliamentary office. That's not yours. That's nothing to do. That is the people's office. And you're the parliamentarian, not just for NDC, for all of us in the constituency. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it, Andy. Stop it. Stop it. But when a dog sucking egg, it's sucking egg. When a dog sucking egg, it's sucking egg. That means, Handy, you are willfully committing a crime and it's being ignored and it's being enabled. All the bounce check you wrote, adding up to hundreds of thousands of dollars. And let me tell all you this, forgetting the parliamentary bit here, even after the elections, he continued to write bounce check, I'll have you know, pretending he paying off his bills because he's minister now. He continued to write bounce check. His name was up, his name and the name of his business in some instances was up in cash offices, especially government cash offices. When they put up do not receive checks from, and they put the names, he was minister then. But when we decided to investigate it, and I did something wrong, I called before I went. They pull it down. They pull it down. Yeah? This is the character that we have to deal with. And all he could tell me is that I'm not educated enough I'm not educated enough to know that ministers don't sign contract. And even after, and some of this happened during the campaign, some of the businessmen in the South, allegedly so, and the Prime Minister, allegedly so, paid off some of his owings, people he owing, and people start to talk, and so to keep the dust down. And the GDP loan, he is still owing to date some of his suppliers. But the ones he owing, they support the party, and they're talking behind the doors, and their workers complaining that he's still owing, but because they support the party, they're embarrassed to go after him for their monies. This is who is our designated Prime Minister. I say, don't wake me, Andy, don't wake me. Don't wake me. So, is who can count? Is it me? If you, as an accountant, can't balance your account enough to know not to write a check, or you're just plain crooked and knowing, and that is where the crime is. Willfully writing checks to the bank, knowing you don't have the money in the bank. That's tantamount to thieving, if you ask me. Now, finally, my question to you, Andy Williams. What happened to the $2 million US you got as grant funding towards the coconut factory 1.5 years ago? 2 million USD, your words, not mine. Dated the 23rd of August, 2023, the Ministry of Mobilization, Implementation, and Transformation released a statement which reads, and let me get my glasses again. Get my glasses. Right? Released a statement. Honorable Andy Williams recently visited India to participate in the 9th CLL India LAC Conclave on Furthering Economic Partnership for Shared and Sustained Growth. Through his participation, Minister Andy has commenced discussion on behalf of Grenada for $1 million USD in grant funding for factory equipment to enable the transformation of locally available raw resources. You hear the word, remember that they're locally available raw resources into value-added products for domestic consumption and export. According to Minister Andy Williams, a delegation from India will be visiting Grenada in September, and that's September 2023, to identify areas for partnership and development support. Now, posted, released by the ministry, not anybody putting up any fake thing there. Let's hear Mr. Williams, Andy Williams, as he was traveling on behalf of Grenada. He went to New York, and at a town hall meeting where he had to leave in 5 minutes, I got to go. He got to catch a flight to South Korea. Busy man, busy man. You understand? Let's hear him.
Let me just mention that when you go to Grenada, you see your mangoes, your golden apples, your fruits on the ground spoiling. But if you look back in the days of the great Maurice Bishop, there was a time when we had factories and we were doing our pulps and juices and so. But that was in the 80s. 40 years passed. And it's like we regress instead of progress. So one of our plan is to bring back agro-processing in Grenada. And I am not just saying it. Anyone could say anything, but you need to back it up. So when I went to India 2 months ago, I met with the Indian government, and they pledged to give Grenada $1 million US in equipment, any equipment we want, to start our factories. Now, we have better news. When I go back to Grenada, the delegation will be visiting Grenada, and they said, Andy, that 1 million is now 2 million. So we have a chance to really push agro-processing in Grenada. And our dream is not to have it in St. George's, because everything is centered in St. George's. But we have to start promoting the urban to rural migration. And if we can have factories in the north and in the middle of the island, what it means is that infrastructure can be improved, housing can be improved, and everyone does not have to run to St. George's for a job. But we can have the rural areas being developed, and this is what we want. Now again, we have a case right now in Grenada where the ABC Islands are looking for products to import. And they have engaged Grenada, they have engaged the Ministry of Agriculture, and we are now working with them. So now we have a chance to export our product. But why do we need factories? Because we can add value to the product and get more from it.
Andy, that 1 million is now 2. That is as funny as licky tiki. It's a set of comedians we have running this country. Big time kukute. Now, which government, where you ever hear a country calling a minister on the phone and saying, Andy, the 1 million is now 2. I mean, and you know what was sad is the way he was received when he said that, the loud roar and the applause from the person sitting there. When I look at the person there, I find as if they look professional. They look at people who know a thing or two. But without fail, and the comments under his post that said, oh, you're doing a great job. He said after meetings, I don't think it came over in the clip, I cut it, but he said after meetings, and I'm quoting here, after meetings, he sits with the Minister of Trade, I guess whichever country he goes to. And he says, hey, what can you do for Grenada? And that's why we get 1 million and digno. Kukute. Only down underneath the house these things happen. Only under the house. I could not believe the claps he got when he said that. They said, Andy, it's no longer 1 million US, it's 2. Listen to this guy answering to a member of the audience, questioning him on the monies, these big monies you're getting from India. You know, what do we have to give them in return? I guess she sat down there, and one of the smarter ones maybe, and said, well, this thing in song and right.
I just have a quick question. You talked about involvement from foreign countries such as India and China, and you spoke about a lot of numbers in terms of funds that they're giving us. Only one, if I'm not mistaken, is in terms of grants. So I want to know, what's the catch? What are we giving these countries in return for all of this capital that they're giving us? Because we don't want Nigeria, we don't want things where we're selling off our island in order to build it up. I think that holding the integrity of what Grenada is and who Grenada is really important to me as a child of Grenadians and someone who values her Grenadian heritage. So what's the catch? Like, what are we giving these foreign nations in exchange for all of this money that they're giving us?
Now, Lord, you can go down one, Junior? Oh, okay. So, I can tell you about India. St. Vincent already got the grant from India. Suriname already got the grant from India. Now, when I travel, when I leave here, I'm going to South Korea. In about 10 minutes, I'll have to leave to go. Now, when I travel, I don't travel empty-handed. I travel with some concepts and some concepts of what we will need in Grenada. So when the meetings are finished, I will sit down with the Minister of Trade and say, hey, you know, we will need XYZ in Grenada. What can you give, if possible? And there are grant funding outside. The UK give us grant to fix our infrastructure and to fix the road system. Grant we don't have to pay back. China give us a grant for housing that we don't have to pay back. As far as I know, there is no catch. The grants are available or were available in India just to access, and no one in Grenada was doing it. But I saw it and I accessed it, right? So to say that what we have to give back, as far as I know, there's nothing we have to give back. And also, you have a lot of grants outside, especially in the area of climate change. Because what happens is that the developed world, they do all the pollutants to cause the climate change. But we are the one in the Caribbean and so that face the lasting or get the lasting effects of it. And there's a lot of grants in climate change. But you have to focus, you have to know where they are, and you have to get them to improve your country. If you go to take a loan for everything, you will be in debt till you can pay. And I think that was happening to some of the African countries. They took loans over what they could pay. And that's a strategy that was done in order to keep them at a certain level. You see, there are more than one ways for someone to keep you attached to them, right? And I have no apology in saying this is the concept of the NMP. You understand? And let me just say that before I go, because I must say that. I want to go off track, but I must say that. As you're in politics, so you have to have strategies. And the NMP strategy is this. If everybody in this room have to depend on me for $1 or $1 million every day, I will have you as a puppet. But if, in politics, no. If I were to liberate you and make you independent, that's a chance. Because I cannot have control of you. No. The NMP strategy is to give you a handout every day. Have you coming back for that handout 10 years after, and you depend on that handout. Our strategy is to uplift people, get them independent, get them working. Sometimes they may not see it now, because they are accustomed to just getting $1 every day. But in time to come, they will see the benefit of having a plan, a long-term plan, so that you do not have to depend on anyone, but you as a man, as a woman, can be able to feed your family by yourself. This is our strategy. So to answer your question, there's no catch to it. It's a grant given to us. We accept it, we look for it, we find it, and we use that grant to build Grenada.
You could see the attention of the audience and like, what the hell is he saying? I mean, you're talking about first world and second world countries, and they're borrowing from banks, World Bank or whoever they're borrowing from. And the bank using that to keep them attached to them. So they're lending them money to keep, what Lord of crap was that? And you saw it, you access it. Where is it, Andy? Where is the 2 million you saw? It was there, nobody was in Grenada was taking it. You saw it, you access it, you got it. Where is the 2 million USD? We just tell us. Where is the factory? The equipment that you bought for the factory. Where is the equipment? You access. When you travel, you just bring strategy and what? Groundnut sugar cake, chip, to show what you want. Because it had to be chip. You throw out Cupra and whatever, so you bring in the chip to show that this is what you Do we have to go through this? My people, are you listening to the real star boy, you know? Real star boy. And to hear him speak about borrowing and not paying back is the biggest joke. A set of manje popot. Talk. And I mean, when his boss talk, it's smooth. And he actually, you could buy into it. You actually believe in it. Oh, it don't materialize. But you could buy into it. I could understand how he does catch you all. Some of you. But this here, what was that? Just to say that it's grant funding, and in grant funding, you don't have to pay back. All kind of manje popot. But what we want to know is, where is the money? What is the NDC long-term plan that you spoke of? In fact, where's your short-term plan? Where's your plan, period? Because for the 2.5 years, and I am quoting one of your cabinet members here when I say, for 2.5 years, we have nothing to show. You wouldn't say that inside the cabinet in front of your boss and his first cabinet. You wouldn't say that out in the public. You all have nothing to show. We were in discussion to export to the ABC Islands. Well, that one is a big Royal Comedy Central. We can't feed our own, but you're looking to export. So we'll be exporting to the ABC Islands. What? We cannot feed our own. And this is not just now. It's been happening. I think, to me, I would say since after Ivan, certain crops and so we have not been able to get that back yet. And so we have a food security problem. And we've been getting stuff from St. Vincent, Dashina Ding, and some stuff from Trinidad. But since your NDC administration came into office, it has worsened. And these days, we're not only ordering fruits and vegetables and ground provision, we're ordering fruits as well. We're importing, so to speak. Fruits as well, mandarin and you name it. We've been ordering. So where are you getting these things to export to the ABC Islands? And I can't fathom how persons sit there and gullibly accept these things because they support your party. I mean, our import bill now, it's at its highest. Meats, we're importing. Real magic popot. We still are waiting the arrival of the Indians. The Indians delegation, the Indian delegation that's supposed to come to Grenada in September of 2023. Where are these people to further discuss the development of the relationship between Grenada and India? We also await the coconut trees that was, and I'm quoting, already ordered and on the way from Brazil and Mexico, all 5,000 of them, the coconut trees, since July 2023. No sign of these coconut trees. They must be walking from Brazil and Mexico to Grenada. They had to be walking. And again, I didn't make it up. I didn't make it up. I am going to read to you. And the thing is, this was a post on Facebook from the Saga boy, Andy Williams. And I made a comment. The truth is, I don't even remember what was the comment I made about the trees and, you know, the coconut and the industry, how we getting this thing going and all of that. And you know, they run out at me. They call me all kind of names. All kind of things was said about me under this post. And this was Andy Williams, one of his answers to me, because then he told me that TAMCC and NULO have free schooling now, and I should take up the offer. That was one of his posts to me. This one, he said, Jennifer Simon, we have already ordered 5,000 plants from Mexico and Brazil, which takes 4 years to bear fruit. With the Ministry of Implementation involved, we will surely increase the number. It's a great time to be a farmer. Where? And I, sometime in the 2024, in this year, I think after a year, so sometime up in July or somewhere there, I called the Ministry of Education, of the Ministry of Agriculture, to find out about the coconut plants, because I want to get in on the action. I want to plant coconut. We have to have a huge coconut industry if we're going to do agro industry with coconuts. So I called and I asked about the coconut trees that was coming from Brazil and Mexico. No one knew what the hell I was talking about. They put me onto all kind of agronomists and all kind of people. No one knew about the coconut plants, the 5,000. And I saw somewhere he had posted another thing, another 10,000 would be coming soon or something like that. Where are these coconut? It's your thing. And he said, what? We don't just talk, you know. We just act, we just walk the walk. We don't just talk the talk. Well, I guess the coconut trees walking come down. So that's why they enrich it. They walk on water too. Folks, let me share with you some of the other babblings of the minister for MIT, the educated minister.
I want to know about Grenville. Grenville is like a shanty town. My concern is what has been done for Grenville in terms of beautification. That's it. Thank you.
So, So for Grenville, the same things apply with the derelict vehicles. The cleanup, we have done a cleanup in Grenville already, and we are still continuing to deal with the derelict vehicles in Grenville. The 4 MPs for Grenville, or the 4 caretakers for Grenville, well, St. Andrews, sorry, right. They have a plan. Part of the plan will be to take back some of the lands and to backfill and to put some areas for recreation in Grenville. But we also have a bigger problem in Grenville, and we have done a study because every time rain falls, Grenville flood. It was said the problem was fixed, but it only became worse, right? So
Listen, the problem with Grenville is reclaiming land, and it's under sea level, and that's what caused the flooding. I mean, I don't know that anybody, they could try to stop the flooding in Grenville. Probably they would, it would be less, right? Now, he said they did a study, and the study is that they would put pumps to pump out the water. Well, they did this study a year and a half ago now. I don't know when they did. I guess they did the study before that. So let's say 2.5 years now. We're still looking for the pumps to pump out the water. They're going to, the 4 caretakers for the constituency of St. Andrew will reclaim land for recreation ground, reclaim land that's already under sea level, and that's causing the floods, right, in the town of Grenville. But they're going to reclaim land to do recreation ground, and then I guess they go plant buttercups and stuff. We in a very and you know what? He is the only one allowed, apparently, from the cabinet to speak, besides the prime minister. He's the only one allowed to speak. And that threatened some of the others, eh? That threatened them real bad. Because, you hear what's going on there. Did you see the Gensec face when he was saying some of those things? It's like, what the hell? You get the hell of the put on that mic. I have a question for the minister. How much derelict vehicles were removed from the roadsides? And I'm talking about throughout Grenada. How much derelict vehicles was removed? Grand move, big talk. You think when you start and you move two people, going to say, yeah, boy, and nobody wouldn't remember that was supposed to be happening? And have you seen the Grenville bus terminal, Minister? Have you seen? Let me show you guys, for those of you who have not seen it.
Yeah, that is Grenville bus terminal.
That is the Grenville bus terminal. Where the Trini, Olia? Where the Trini who came here to give back because his parents are from Grenada? Listen to the Trini.
I am here to serve, and I'm ready to serve, and I think I'm equipped to serve. I'm very, very pleased that I was selected for such a transformational activity or process. I'm very, very pleased. And I'm pleased for more than one reason. Right? Transportation affects every single person. Small, young, old, every single person on the island or the tri-island state, right, will or is affected by the transportation system that is provided. And another reason that I'm very, very pleased to be sitting here among you all, and I'll permission to just throw in this, right? I feel that I'm giving back. And I want to give back to Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique because my parents came from Grenada. Both my mother and my father are Grenadians. So I feel that I'm giving back and lending my experience, my knowledge, my skill to this tri-island state. You know, I've been here about 2 months now, and I've had the opportunity to traverse the length and breadth of Grenada with my team. And I must say, I had to commend my team. They have been really holding my hands through this learning process. I must commend them. Right? And I've been able to observe a lot of the things that you all talk about all the time. You know, I've walked the walk from Soters to St. George's, throughout. I've made the loop a couple of times, you know. I've visited all the terminals. or the 3 terminals that we have, St. George's, Granville, Soteres, and what I saw wasn't what should be. When you look at, and I'll be brief, when you look at St. George's, it's not what we should be offering. And I'm so grateful to be here, and I'm so grateful that this initiative is taking place. I'm so grateful, that the Prime Minister is already key on it, because I'm getting my feedback from the PS. He's always asking, the Prime Minister wants to know what's happening, where we going with the project, how we get along with the project. And I'm very pleased for that, because when I walk through St. George's, the state of that place it's not right, for want of a better word. It's dark, it's hot, and we have the citizenship inhaling these toxic oxide, nitric oxide, all the emissions, because the place is enclosed and the buses pass through the middle there, and that is not right. That's not right at all. When we look at other places, we look at Granville. There's no shelter. There's no shelter from anything in Granville. There was a covering, but it doesn't stop you from the element from getting to you. There's no seating for the elderly. There is when it's dusty, when it's dusty, the dust flows, the dust blows on people all the time. If it rains, that's the end of it. Soteres, same thing in Soteres. Condition, very, very deplorable condition, very, very deplorable conditions, And our aim at the Grenada Transport Commission is to reverse all that, to transform, and I like to use the word transform. We're not going to fix, we're not going to change, we're going to transform, which is change into something totally different, and to make the experience, the traveling experience, very, very positive.
That's not right at all. That's not right at all. You're going to try. It transforms in truth. It transforms in truth. But permission to just throw in this.
Let me go again. I wouldn't be too long. Because I can go for the night. Now, we accept that sometimes people want to come back to our Tri-Island state, but our healthcare is not in good shape. Now, immediately, during the campaign, we said that our mission will be to improve healthcare. And the Prime Minister's dream is to build a new hospital. And not just a new hospital, but a new teaching hospital. It's a shame that we have SGU, one of the best universities in the world when it comes to medicine, and our healthcare is in shambles. What happened is that when the students finish their academics, they have to travel to the USA or the UK to do their practical. But if we have a teaching hospital, they can do it in Grenada. And our citizens can benefit from the doctors who are in Grenada. What we did immediately, we acquired approximately 89 acres of land in the Calivini area. And we are now in conversation with developers who are willing to come and fund the hospital for themselves. And what we want to do again is to enter into a PPP, a public-private partnership. But in doing so, we accept that we have to fix we have to introduce the National Health Insurance. And when I say National Health Insurance, I mean an insurance where the citizens of Grenada can use that in order to access healthcare at a lower cost. And if we do that, we can fix the problem of healthcare in our country.
You see, if you used to pay attention, you would have known that that teaching hospital is not Deacon's dream, but it's a dream of the NDC, the Tillman Thomas-led administration. We had launched a I try to remember the name of the booklet. And in there is the dream of a teaching hospital in Grenada. But you see, y'all have set a Johnny come lately and don't even know. You could see, well, you wasn't an NDC to start with. You're not an NDC, so you would not know that. You would not have known that was the Tillman Thomas land. And even the same, where the field, the lands that you guys started to purchase, that was the same lands that was supposed to be used. It is a NDC, Tillman Thomas led NDC dream. The dream of the Prime Minister. What do you, where you come out? Putin. Let's hear him on Grenada, the Grenadian style houses.
Also, Grenada is a beautiful place. Beautiful. Sometimes we travel to the Bahamas and so on, we see all Miami and we see all the beautiful palm trees and so everything nice. And when you come back to Grenada, we have beauty and we are not making use of it. So my ministry have a project called the Visible Transformation Project. And that project is where we look to beautify Grenada. When you go to Grenada, you will see all old vehicles by the side of the road. Sometimes a fire truck want to come out of fire, no space to pass because vehicles are just blocking up the space. We have started collecting the derelict vehicles already. We have started collecting derelict boats. We are in a process right now of cleaning up the water because sometimes you have yachties come into Grenada and settle outside and dump all the waste in the water, destroying our coral reef. We have already started to beautify the Wall Street area. We have already started to beautify the Lagoon Road. And as I speak right now, we have a crew in St. George's that are beautifying the St. George's area.
Listen, beautifying the Wall Street area, the two little buttercup you plant in Pumpkinville down there at the bus stop. What about the Wall Street area, where since over the past 2.5 years, people just dropping down, trucking in, e-mobile food trucks, pack it up on Wall Street, lessening the parks for people visiting businesses in the area. Nobody's selling them anything. Somebody bill up with, it looked like, what do you call that material? Aluminum? A kitchen. A big space took up. Put down the kitchen. Right? No running water, no bathroom facilities. And you're talking about cleaning up the Wall Street area? It is worse now than before. It is worse now than before. And have you seen the carnage? Dirty, dingy. The ghetto continues into the plaza area. We have no sidewalks, all broken up, eat up. More and more fishing trawlers are now packing on the carnage, ropes tied, anchor tie up on the carnage. I've seen people trip over ropes. You put steel down in holes, sticking out to say that this is a pothole there on the carnage in the sidewalk. Put pieces of steel, sticking out. Could you imagine if somebody trip over and fall onto that? It's the worst. Our pristine carnage, dingy, dirty. And you're talking about cleanup? And since when prefab housing is Grenadian style houses? Since when? We have, well, I guess we could call all of the prefab government because everything, is just put on and bolt up. Y'all don't think no planning goes into anything. You have a prefab administration, so we deserve what we get. Whatever happened to bricks and mortar and steel? Whatever happened to that? We went from Grenadian-style houses with swimming pool to prefab houses up in Dunfermline. Yeah? What's really happened in Pumpkinville, Andy? Because we know it's private property and that you trespassed on it to say you're beautifying. But recently, along the perimeter, we see signs of no trespassing. Is that for you and your people? What happened? Tell us what happened in Pumpkinville. But the question must be asked, Andy. Do you deny receiving $115,000 from the contractor of the Cliff Road project, Mr. Nelson Louison, in exchange for the contract? The question still remains, Andy. What is the extra $5 million for from the supplementary allocation of $15 million allocated to you for 200 houses at $50,000, which equals $10 million, a balance of $5 million. What is the extra $5 million for? By the way, Andy, why aren't we hearing about Project Build Back Better? Is it true the Planning Authority did not sign off on the Build Back Better project and did not approve your concrete beams and wooden structure, wooden body? Is it also true the Housing Authority asked that you stop advertising your Project Build Back Better houses? How many houses have you built so far under the Project Build Back Better houses that can be built in 3 weeks? You know what is worse? The contractor agreeing that he can give you the houses in 3 weeks. Well, give you a house in 3 weeks. Listen to him.
Or 10 by 8. When I showed him that design, he came back to me again. Oh, I'm just telling you the discussion we had. And the minister was like, he was like the client, because he was giving me all the information in order for me to be guided and to come up with this design. And he said, can we push this a little bit to make it 10 by 10? I said, yeah. I said, Minister, anything you tell me I could design, you know. So we push it to 10 by 10. And the function of that building is slightly different to the conventional type of buildings. In other words, when you enter your house, usually you enter your main door, you enter into your living room space, you walk through your living room to go to the other areas in the house. So to go to your bedroom, go to your kitchen, you have to walk through your living room. That particular design, when you enter your front door, your main door, you're entering into a little space. I want to say a little space. I mean, I'm talking about, it's a big space, but it's a space that you can decide what part of the house that you decide to go. So you don't have to walk through your living room. You don't have to walk to your kitchen. You don't have to go through a bedroom to go to a bathroom. You can go from that point any part of the house without interfering with anything else. So if somebody comes to you, as a friend comes to you and they say, want to use the washroom, they don't have to. You could be sitting looking at your television and nobody will be passing through there. And I think that is the beauty of that particular design. And I said to Minister, this is the brainchild of this minister. It was excellent. At that time, the building didn't have a veranda. And Minister said, no. We had to put a veranda. I mean, our people in this warm climate, somebody need to come out and put a little chair and sit down and relax, regardless of what it is. They want to cock up your foot, no problem with that. So we want something so that people can come and enjoy themselves, but even with a little friend or so. I say, okay, Minister, we're going to go back again and we're going to do that. Absolutely no problem. So we decided now, but he went one step further. Having this idea in mind that sustainability, resilience, and the building has to be stronger, he keeps stressing that. He said to me, Mr. Lalji, can we just put the foundation in concrete? I said, yes. Having to think about the financial constraint, I said, okay, columns and beams, no problem. He said to me again, listen, can we now take the columns up to the roof at the corners so that the building would have more rigidity and resilience? I said, yes, Minister, that's a good idea. So he's feeding me with information. And he said, so what we can do then, we can just put a concrete beam at the top and we can lock the roof into it. That's the minister telling me this information, you know. He said, we can put that. And I said, yes, Minister, this can work. So we decided now that we're going to use a shed roof. And it's different to a lot of other buildings. Now, you have buildings with different kind of roof. You have those with the bungalow roof. It means, therefore, that the galvanized is sloping on all sides. So if you have to harvest water, it means that you have to buy guttering for all around. If you have a gable roof, you have to buy guttering from the front and on the back. And then you have to decide on how are you going to channel your water to harvest that. Minister came up with a brilliant idea. He said a shed roof is good. So we could channel all the water to one area. I said, well, Minister, you're brilliant, man. I said, we're working. So that was all the different factors that we were working with. We were working with all of that to come up with that particular design.
That's how one gets excited when they're eating a food. You see that there? That's a eat a food excitement. But he is the architect, Mr. Lalji, he said he was. And he is eating out of the hands of the minister and saying that usually you must pass through the living room to go to. That's not usually. If he's an architect, he would know that there are buildings designed, houses designed where you don't have to. And this is not the first building that designed like that. But he excited and he do anything the minister say to do, he will do. We go hear about that come June next year into November. We will hear about that. Here is the engineer.
My team and I from Selective Engineering are delighted to be part of this project, Build Back Better, because in our view, it's a project that will touch the lives of affected people, mainly burial. And when Mr. Minister engaged me, and he came up with the concept, I saw the drawing from Architect Lalji, and we spent some time, and we got to a sweet spot from having a functional unit that is resilient, that is structurally sound, to one that is affordable. So the calls that Mr. Lalji was getting, I was getting it also. And then Mr. Honorable Minister Williams told me, say, these have to be done in 3 weeks. I joke my calculator, say, Mr. Minister, it's impossible. Concrete, 3 to 7 days, you'll get 50% of the strength. We have to wait for certain things to cure to move on. Juice, we need it in 3 weeks. We had discussion with our contractors, other engineers, they say 8 weeks. So what we had to do was streamline the processes, and we did deliver a model house in 3.5 weeks. In the Lime St. George's, there is a beautiful 2-bedroom house, stand there, testament of the fact that we delivered. People could feel free to go and look at a tangible result of a model house.
So the launch was in St. Patrick, and the model house they're talking about is in Grandance, in the housing scheme behind the limes, right? Whilst they're talking about a house, you can't see the house, it's in Grandance, and the launch was in St. Patrick. At the launch, the engineer said that they delivered the model house, you heard him, in 3.5 weeks. What he delivered was a shell. I went myself. I had shown you before my videos that I took to see the model house. It was just a shell. They had men still working on it. It had absolutely nothing inside but partitions. They had no bedroom thing, no kitchen. You couldn't tell where the kitchen was going to be, where the living room was going to be, anything when I went in there. Weeks later, it was delivered. So it probably took the same 8 weeks they were telling him it was going to take. And they said, yes, we're going to give you in 3.5 weeks. BS. you know, and getting all excited because you're eating a food. Now, here's the model house that was delivered to someone who had nothing and was not affected by Hurricane Beryl. It's a neighbor and friend of the minister, Andy Williams. It started off being for that individual because it was built on the property of her parents and was given to her. There it is. Right? She and the PS cut ribbon. If you look up on the screen, you see they cut the ribbon. She got her keys and model house done, gone. Right? But that nothing. The place small. Corruption is a must. No one is perfect. Question. Is it true the newly appointed CEO of the CBI, Mr. Thomas Anthony, is about to throw in the towel, citing irrefutable differences between him and the chairman of the board, Mr. Richard Duncan, and as a result has graded Mr. Thomas Anthony very low for his performances? Is it true one of the differences was Mr. Anthony refusing to sign off on a letter sent to the agency coming from the NDC party, and on a party letterhead, the NDC party letterhead, asking the CBI to purchase hundreds of tickets for the different carnival shows in 2024 for NDC surrogates and supporters? Is it true after the chairman intervened and a deal was made that the workers at the CBI office, they too have to get tickets bought and paid for by the CBI? Tickets was paid for by the CBI. All you think it easy? Both for the party and the workers. Is it true? Special Envoy, Ms. Andra St. Bernard, an advisor to the Prime Minister and government of Grenada, and member of the First Cabinet, chairperson of Grenada Development Bank Board, CBI advisor to the Prime Minister, amongst many other portfolios. Our own superwoman, Ms. Andra St. Bernard, is the largest selling agent in Grenada. Did I say Grenada? That all of that day? If I say Grenada, I'm not surprised. Grenada. Ching ching. Now, while on CBI, Prime Minister, what is the story on Kawana Bay Resort and the $22 million given to Mr. Warren Newfield in exchange for the property? Here is a clip on Prime Minister Deacon speaking on Kawana Bay.
I come last week to the Kawana Bay site. This site formerly housed the hotel known as Flamboyant Hotel. And subsequent to the closure of the Flamboyant Hotel, was transferred by the government of Grenada, not via leasehold, which is what Flamboyant Hotel had, but via freehold to the development company True Blue Bay Development Limited, which is the company that created the Kawana Bay project and had an approved CBI status for that project. As the nation well knows, not too long ago, the former administration led by Dr. Mitchell and the developer Kawana Bay had a very public and unfortunate falling out. And this led to the developer taking the state of Grenada to arbitration before the International Court for the Settlement of Investment Disputes, known as, in short, ICSID, and sued the state of Grenada for several tens of millions of dollars. And the site became a white elephant. The construction ceased. The site was closed down and it has sat there for the last 2 years or more. Upon assuming office, the government took the decision that we could not simply allow perhaps what is one of the most spectacular sites on Grandlands Beach, and certainly the most spectacular view, to become a white elephant dominating the landscape at that end of Grandlands Beach, Munn area. And so for a protracted period of time, the government, first led by a cabinet-approved committee, and I want to stop here and signal our gratitude to that committee. The committee was led by Mr. Richard Duncan, and it included Ms. Leslie Ann Sion, Mr. Hassan Hadid, and Mr. Henry Joseph. They led the negotiations initially to try and see how this matter could be resolved. And I want to thank them for the time and effort that they put into this matter, because although it was not resolved under their watch, specifically, they certainly contributed significantly towards advancing the matter. In summary, the government made the decision to acquire the site so that we could, in fact, put ourselves in a position to have fresh negotiations with a new developer, so that this project could, in fact, be completed successfully, so that construction could resume, so that several hundreds of Grenadians who were once working on the site and who became unemployed as a result of the construction site closing could look forward to resumption of work on the site, to resumption of employment, and ultimately to a hotel actually being completed on the site. So the government has acquired the site. It has acquired the site at a cost of $22 million US. We will be making the necessary payments between now and next year to the main owner of the site. The result of this is that the arbitration proceedings between the developer and the state of Grenada has come to an end. And we are happy to report that because the legal fees associated with defending the ICSID arbitration was running the people of Grenada into the several hundreds of thousands of US dollars, if not, it had already reached millions of US dollars in legal fees for a dispute that we felt was certainly not necessary and one that was created and should never have happened in the first place. Having acquired the site, the government is currently engaged in significant and advanced discussions with potential developers over their taking over the site to resume construction. At this stage, we have not yet concluded a definitive deal, but we feel quite optimistic that we would be in a position to come back shortly to announce the conclusion of this definitive deal.
You would know about the spectacular view, huh? Because the $20,000 per month rent that the mansion that you're renting for $20,000 per month is looking down on the flamboyant property, what used to be. So your view is even more spectacular than the flamboyant view. But Prime Minister, why is Kawana Bay still standing like the white elephant you describe it to be? Why is it still standing like a white elephant in the most premier spot on the Grandlands Beach? Where are the jobs promised? Somewhere along the line, we were told that the government swapped the Kawana Bay property with Mr. Naguib Sawaris of Silver Sands Enterprises for the Rivera property that is parallel to the Camahon Park on the Grandlands Beach to put Heroes Park. Here's the Prime Minister.
As part of the 50th anniversary celebrations as well, covering the entire year, the government intends to embark upon, with public support and consultation, the naming of our first national heroes as part of our 50th anniversary celebrations. And so we certainly will have names proposed and we would invite feedback from the public. We are hoping that we can name a minimum of 3 and perhaps no more than 5 national heroes, because obviously being recognized as a national hero is the highest award or honor that any nation can bestow upon its citizens. And so we are looking forward to that happening. We also anticipate, and at a further briefing we will indicate once we are able to successfully do so, we also anticipate being able to acquire lands that we can dedicate to creating a national heroes park, where those persons who are in fact named as national heroes, where some bus or other memorabilia of them can be erected at the national park. And this is a venture that we are quite excited about. We hope that by the time we get to the official launch of our 50th anniversary celebrations commencement, that we would be in a position to provide further details to members of the public on this initiative.
What happened to the swap of the Kawana Bay for the Rivera property is the question. We've mourned 2 Heroes Day since he's spoken there, 2. And to date, not one hero was named. We were naming 3 and perhaps no more than 5 since the first Heroes Day that we mourned. And we've since mourned the second one on the 19th, October 19, 2024, and not one hero named. At the opening of the Silver Sands Beach House Resort, the Prime Minister and Cinti Daughter, our incompetent Attorney General, thought it best to have Mr. Sawaris and the Governor General sign off on a deal, pushing paper and pen in their faces, like, surprise. That's not, tact. Where is your tact? In an MTV News clip, it was announced that the lease was signed.
The lease for the Kawana Bay and the surrender of the Rivera sites on Grandins Beach were signed by the Governor General of Grenada, Dame Cecile Lagrenade, and investor Naguib Sawiris. The signing was labeled as symbolic as it underscores government's dedication to responsible land use and community engagement. The agreement was sealed during a ribbon-cutting ceremony on Monday for the commissioning of Silver Sands Beach House in Point Saline. Prime Minister Honorable Deacon Mitchell believes partnerships are an important part of nation building.
Sometimes, and I will say so openly, we could be a little hesitant to be welcoming to foreign direct investors and to persons who visit Grenada and find Grenada a wonderful place that they wish to do business with, oftentimes because of the warmth and friendliness of our Grenadian people. So it's important for both of us, those of us who are here and those who wish to come here, that we understand each other, that we interact with each other, and that we build a culture of partnership, not a culture of xenophobia or them against us. We are not going to work if we are not partners and if we are not speaking with each other to ensure that we are on the same page and that we find mature ways to settle disagreements which will happen from time to time or differences of perspectives. I think the fact that we're here successful in record time is an indication that the people of Grenada, not just the government of Grenada, find Naguib and his team a wonderful partner.
Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell, is it true that there are some issues with this whole signing of this lease agreement and that the lease agreement is not really finalized? While I have you here, Prime Minister, was the 214 investors in the Kawana Bay project, were they paid off for the monies they invested in the Kingdom Kawana Bay project? Let's hear you.
So some people may decide we're going to keep the investment, we're staying in. That's fine too, and they continue to be.
No, I'm saying they can't decide whether they keep the investment. I'm saying the government has acquired the site. As a matter of law, we have that right. And having acquired the site, I'm saying what they have is a right to be compensated for whatever interest they might have had in the property. So I'm saying whatever investment, because I'm making the point that you could invest in something that doesn't actually have value. It's not a bad investment. Right? You can buy something, you can spend $1 million for it, and then you try and sell it, and someone only wants to pay $50 for it. So what I'm saying is that whatever interest any investor has from a property interest perspective, based on the Land Acquisition Act, they will be entitled to be compensated.
Therefore, Prime Minister, if according to you, we have to pay off the investors, all 214 of them, is it true that in fact, the amount we paid for Kawana Bay is much more than $22 million, US dollars, that is. And not just 22 million, as Cindy daughter tried to make us believe. Even she, sitting next to you, hearing you say that we have to pay them, this is what she had to say.
Just to clarify for the listening public that the state of Grenada was sued for $111 million, thereabouts, US, in the Kawana Bay dispute. And we settled the dispute for 22 million, less than a quarter of what we were sued for. And in the arbitration claim, there was not a claim in relation to the property as such, because the property was still owned by the True Blue developers. So in the settlement, we were able to get the property back for the people of Grenada and settle the arbitration dispute. So that encompassed the 22 million. Just so that people understand, the 22 million just did not only cover the value of the property. It was to settle all of the claims made against the people of Grenada or the state of Grenada, that totaled $111 million. So I would say that was a good deal for us.
Deception, deception. Prime Minister, we need an update on Kawana Bay. Please and thanks. Please and thanks. What we clear on is that Heroes Park can be anywhere. Leapers Hill, Welcome Stone, anywhere, according to the Minister of Culture.
Another important point is the whole issue of establishing a Heroes Park. We have already identified the land. It can be changed if through a consultation people think that the best place may not be Commonwealth Park in St. George. It might be some place in Leapers Hill in St. Patrick. Then we can have that discussion. But come 2026, we will be turning the sword to establish, come 2025, we'll be turning the sword for the establishment of a Heroes Park, where we can decide whether we putting up plaques, whether we're putting up walls, whatever monument we'll be using. Come 2025, we'll definitely be having that.
And in the meantime, Prime Minister designate is clearing the lands, the Rivera lands, to accommodate vending. If you look on the screen, you see the photos and his little caption there, which reads, plans on the way to develop Rivera into our own Heroes Park. However, in the interim, we can create some business opportunities for our people. Stay tuned. A.J. Williams. Folks, another failed plan or project of the NDC. Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell, we await the findings of the investigation of the corruption of the National Lottery Authority involving the chairman of the board, Mr. William Batiste, and his lover, the managing director of the authority, Ms. Cindy Henry. The abuse and the misuse of the Lotto funds must be accountable for. Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell, the people wants to know who gave the authorization to release the heavy equipment that was in the custody of the RGPF to the contractor on the True Blue Road project that caused the death of the young man from St. Patrick. Prime Minister, who stole the cookie from the cookie jar? Prime Minister, how much money was stolen from the $22.5 million are located for the Golden Jubilee celebrations? Prime Minister, I know that you know who stole the cookie from the cookie jar. We await your press release or press conference, press briefing to the people about the missing monies from the $22.5 million allocated for the Golden Jubilee 50th Independence Anniversary celebration. This one is for the Minister of Finance, who promised us in the Parliament that he would come to us with the accountability of the $22.5 million at the end of the celebration, which ended at the end of October 2024. We await. Folks, that's a wrap on today's episode of Simon Says. Always a pleasure conversing with you, keeping them honest. Thank you for viewing another episode of Simon Says, where facts come first. I'm your host, Jenny Simon. See you next year as we resume our conversation on national issues and current affairs. Bye now.
Thank you for tuning in to Simon Says. To ensure that you never miss an episode, click subscribe and make sure to turn on the notifications by clicking on the notification bell icon. See you at the next episode.